you can wait and hope for the government or any other group to save you, but you just don't know when or if it will ever happen. And so,
Mm,
since you don't know when or if it'll happen, then you have to be prepared and you have to be self sufficient. And right now, we are too dependent on the system.
mm,
Everybody in this country is too dependent on everything going exactly how it has for the last, several decades. But
mm,
people behind the scenes, people in the experts are the ones who are saying that things are about to get bad or at least look a lot different. All right.
mm.
Again, a lot of these stores are closing down. We're used to fast food, but fast food is not a normal thing. All right. We're used to going to the stores and the stores having all of the products that we want. But there was a time period before where that didn't used to be the case. So you just never know what might happen in the future. So you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared for the present and for the future. And you want to use strategies in order to optimize what your future looks like.
So this is a great conversation. People are saying they appreciate the conversation and they have a few questions. One of the questions they want you brothers to answer is, how do you feel about filing for bankruptcy? And I'll let you as the economist, no, I'll let you speak second. I want to hear from the Adept Moore, and then you as the economist can speak as well. Adept Moore, how do you feel about personally, whether it's, you're not telling people what to do, but what do you think about filing for bankruptcy?
I think it's a tool that can be utilized, but I think the more important factor is what caused the bankruptcy, because usually most of those times come from the lack of financial discipline that Dexter was talking about. So if we can just change that factor, then we will no longer put ourselves in a situation to need bankruptcy. Now, some of the richer individuals kind of use it as a tool to kind of get around things, but I think it's more about the perspective you're coming from. I mean, if you're using it as a tool to where if I do this, I'm going to make this step A, step B, and then step C, and it's strategic with it, it can be a tool. But if you're going to use it because it was a lack of financial discipline, and now you got to wait 7 to 10 years because it's on your credit report to be able to do something else or get some more loans, anything like that, then I think it's going to be detrimental to you, because once that's clear, you're going to be right back in the same position because you didn't learn a lesson from the financial literacy.
Mm, okay, thank you so
I
much.
I agree 100%.
Mm,
Uh, if you need it, right, it's a tool. It's there for you to use, right? Donald Trump has gone bankrupt, or his companies. He's bankrupted a lot of companies. So it
mm,
is a tool that can be used strategically. But again, as our brother Adept Moore has said, what's the situation that created you to have to
mm,
file for bankruptcy? That's the most
mm,
important question. And that
mm,
has to be addressed. Even if you file for bankruptcy, you have to be able to practice financial discipline, because for one, as he said, it's going to take time for you to be able to get debt right again, because they'll put it on your credit history. But also, whenever you need that money, whenever you need to borrow money, you'll you'll face the same problems if you don't correct the reason that that you had to file for bankruptcy in the first place.
And when you're filing for bankruptcy, the bankruptcy attorneys actually make you go through counseling. They make you go through counseling to learn financial discipline, and they make you learn how to create a budget. They teach you how to budget your money, how to spend your money correctly, and you have to go through that before you finish the process of bankruptcy. So what you guys are saying is spot on.
Right. So it's better to learn on your own than put yourself in a situation where you're kind of forced to learn, because you're not going to be as excited about being forced to do something as opposed to taking the
Mm,
initiative yourself to do it, in my opinion, at least.
Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. Somebody asked it. Somebody else said, "Shall we play a game?" The credit game. I mentioned the credit game. Uh, how do you all feel about playing the credit game? Did you already speak to that?
I would say to use it.
Mm,
It's something that you can use. But again, it's about having a strategy, having discipline, and having a goal, right?
Mm.
So you want to know it. Don't just get credit for the sake of getting credit, right? You want to know what the reasons for getting the credit is, and then have a strategy for it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with that as well. And I think the issue is because of the programming and condition is so heavy, and even though it's criminal, but somehow we just don't learn financial literacy in school. But the fact that that happens, we find ourselves in the middle of these scenarios and like, oh, I owe $20,000 in this credit card. I'm in debt. What am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? So it's very imperative that we can, as you all are doing, but we pass these things on to our posterity and make it more fun and exciting to do learning financial literacy, so we won't continue to perpetuate these same cycles. That's pretty much going to continue if we don't make any alterations to it. Because that's the main part that had to be addressed. Because yeah, it's not fair. Everything is pretty much based on debt, but we have to utilize these tools as to our best of our ability to progress in society. That's just the times we're in. So
Yeah.
credit, whatever, it has to be utilized, unless we just happen to come into the situation to where maybe someone knew about how to go around it, and we just had enough money to where we didn't need to use credit. But majority of us, we got to use these credit situations, and since we do, we just got to educate ourselves more about it and utilize it. Look at it as a tool and to our advantage instead of looking at it as a complete disadvantage and kind of being irritated about it or less reluctant to go towards it. So I agree with even what you said you all are doing in the group as far as working the credit game and getting things like that squared away. It's better, like I said, it's better to know about it and not need it than to need it and not know about it. Right, so
100%.
And to piggyback on that, it's better to have it, right? So with the credit, you can have the cushion, right? If you have a $5,000 credit card, for example, you shouldn't need it. In fact, that's the reason why they're giving you the credit, is because not because you need it, but because you have the discipline to say, okay, I know that if I need it, if I have an emergency, I can always be able to afford the emergency. But also, if I just want to take a vacation, I can use my credit card, pay it off, right, in a timely manner, and always have that cushion instead of having to penny pinch and always be tight on your money. So credit is good to open up your spending limit, your ability to do things.
Absolutely. Family in the chat, I know a lot of us are, some of you are Moors, and a lot of you have you know about the trust. A lot of you like me, you know about Nasara and Jasara, and that's amazing. It's beautiful. Y'all know I'm the Nasara queen.
No.
However, we're speaking to economists. We're speaking to men that are husbands, fathers, that have families, that are disciplined, that have played the financial game, that have played have utilized economics, the system that we have right now, to forge ahead. So that's why we're having this discussion, because there are a lot of people that are in debt, and it's hard to get, ahead if you're in debt. So speaking of the credit game, somebody said, I'm here to live, not to play a game. Honey, listen, life is a game, believe it or not.
Exactly.
If you are in debt, Dexter and I were credit repair specialists, and we know about the Section 609 letters. What you can do is you can write the credit bureaus. This is free game. Write the credit bureaus and let them know, that's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and let them know that these debts, this is if you want to play the game. If you haven't paid them off, you got to something in collections. This is completely legal. Okay. You can write them and say, if you have not proven, you can write them and say, this debt here is unverifiable. According to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 609, if you have not shown me the original contract with my wet ink signature, you must remove this from my credit report, and you have 30 days to do so. But that's part of the game too. Now, I don't know if I should be saying that, but it is. It's part of the game. I was a credit repair specialist, and you can use that to your advantage. Even though there's a system in place, they always provide a remedy.
Always.
Now, everybody, go ahead. Everybody doesn't like that remedy, but it's there. What are you going to say?
No, I was saying that you're right. Always. They always provide a remedy.
And the rich people, I'm sorry, go ahead. The rich people know the remedies. And that's the thing is we have to know the systems that are already in place, and we have to know how to utilize them to our advantage, because rich people know all of the loopholes and they utilize them, but they utilize credit, right? Because rich people say, I'd rather spend someone else's money than spend my own money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have enough money to spend, I'm fine with that, but if you want to use credit, there is a strategy that can benefit you, but you have to know the game in order to play the game. And I think really we're thrusted into the game, whether we like it or not.
Definitely.
But we don't know the rules. So most of our people, for example, our credit is not good, to be, nice about it, because we'll get debt, or we'll let things hit our credit score, but we don't know the remedies. And I just say that we should be able to, one, utilize credit because it's important for us to move ahead financially, but also know the rules and know the remedies, know how you can find loopholes and use loopholes as strategies to further whatever your ambitions and goals are.
Yeah. And then it like you said, Dr. Key, it is a game. So have fun with the game. We can have fun watching these sports games and things like that. We know about these games and these stats that they have. So why not use that same energy that we use for that into the things that can actually benefit us, like credit, wealth, and things like that. That's going to affect us directly, as opposed to living vicariously through other people's experiences.
Yes, agree. And that's a great way to look at it, right? Make it fun, right? Make learning about finances fun. That's the way when I was learning how to grow my credit, I had to look at it and say, okay, how do I make it interesting to me? All right. And then how do the banks look at my credit score, and how do they interpret what's on my credit score? And so I started to play with the numbers, right? Like you talked about, people know percentages and stats for basketball players, NFL players, but we don't understand our own credit score, how they gave us that number. Right? We have to understand 35% is your history, your payment history. 30% is credit card utilization. 10% is just understanding the numbers and how they calculate your score. And then understanding what your score is. So what I did, for example, I said, okay, if I have a 580, most banks are looking for a 620 or higher, right? So a 580 score for credit score, they're oftentimes going to deny you for a credit card, for example.
Okay.
Why? What does that number represent? So then I said, okay, 580 out of 850. And it made more sense to me to get the percentage.
Here you go.
Right.
Is this what you're talking about right here?
Yep. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, but now when you look at the actual score of, like, what do you need to get a loan? Right. What's the number that they're looking for? They might want, depending on the bank or the institution, they might want anywhere from a 620 to a 700. And when we do just simple calculations, if you have a 580, for example, your score, I want to calculate what 580 divided by 850 is, so that we can understand what the percentage is. Because the way I see it, the banks look at your credit score as a grade. Right? A, B, C, D, F. If you're at 500, so let's start with 500 divided by 850. that's a 58%. Right. So a
Okay.
bank's not going to loan to you because if it was a test in the class, you failed.
Wow.
You see what I'm
This is
saying?
good information. Thank you both. Thank you. This really is
So
about financial discipline. If you're not disciplined financially, you're not going to be disciplined in other parts of your life. Go ahead.
Exactly.
it starts with finances. And
Mm.
you're you're not going to be able to accomplish much of anything in life if you don't have financial discipline. You'll
Mm.
always be behind the 8 ball, and you'll always be struggling and trying to figure out how to just pay bills, right? How to survive.
Mm.
And rich people have gotten past the survival mode. A lot of us are still in survival mode, and we're not utilizing the tools that are available to our advantage. So again, if you have a 500 score, that's 500 out of 850. That's a 58%. So a 580 score will be 68%. Right. So the banks are saying, okay, 68% is still low, obviously, but what's the number? Once you get to the 600 category, then they're saying, okay, you have a 70%, you have a C. So now at a 600 credit score, they're more willing to loan to you. Not all banks, but you give them more of a reason to loan to you because you're showing that you have financial discipline. And going back to that pie chart that you showed, understanding how your credit is divided and how they're looking at the percentages, you can utilize that to boost your score very quickly.
Mm-hmm.